It has the forced proximity trope, which I love to read. It's just so juicy. There was just many crazy things happening and I'm enjoying every second of it. That was everything I needed in that moment. I was like, yes, because I am Team Grayson. That it is an utterly ridiculous story, but thoroughly entertaining. This is the tired face of a girl who's cried so many times I can't even count anymore while reading a single book. Hi, I'm Emily. Welcome to this reading vlog. If you didn't know, I've been kind of on a mission to read every book on my physical TBR, but it's been really hard. Although I realized my problem was that I would borrow like 8 books in the library and feel like I had to finish those because I had to return them before I could read any that I already own and read. So I cut the library out of the equation. I said, no more. I'm doing this. I'm reading the books that I own, that I want to recommend and annotate and all that fun stuff. So I've been doing that and it's been very rewarding. Finding new favorites that have already been on my shelves that have been sitting there collecting dust is amazing, and annotating and recommending everything that I said, nice. But sometimes I want to open my reading sphere and get a little bit of a taste for something else. So I asked y'all on my bookstagram for your favorites of 2022 and y'all came through with the answers, which I highly appreciate because this video could not be made without you participating and helping me out. So I took that whole collection of answers and favorites and thoughts, some that I had already read, some that I own, some that I don't, and I picked 5, which was incredibly hard, but it was a mix of something that I know I will likely love because I don't want to read a book and hate it. That wouldn't be very fun, but some that I own so that I can continue working on my physical TBR, and some that I'm gonna have to borrow because I want to read them anyways. So I took those 5 recommendations. There's also one secret surprise one that the library is kind of backed up on, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to read it for this video, but if I can, that'll be great. But these 5 I'm really excited for, and what I did is I did a little picker spinner wheel thingy because I hate making decisions and I don't really feel in the mood to read a specific one of them. I'm up for anything right now, and the wheel gods have decided to make me read Once Upon a Broken Heart first, which is by Stephanie Garber, aka the author of the Caraval trilogy, which I absolutely loved, and this follows Jax and a whole nother story with another girl. I haven't read the synopsis because I feel like the synopsis spoils so many things in my case, so I like to go in particularly blind. I have heard really good things about this book, some mixed feelings, but really good things overall, so I'm excited to start it. I will keep you updated, and those other 4 books will also be in this video, and I'm excited to get to those too because I've heard good things. So yeah. Also, just a side note, I'm also reading The Stolen Heir, buddy reading it with Jolyn, aka 20 Charm, on Instagram, which is very exciting. But this should only take me a couple of days because we're doing 4 chapters a day, so I'm gonna read this too, but I mean, this isn't part of the video. I just wanted you to know because I did a vlog getting this book and now I'm gonna read it and I'm excited. Today I'm not very busy, so I will be doing a lot of reading and relaxing, and I'm excited to have you along the journey with me. I'm now on chapter 10 of Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm rather liking it. I'm liking where this story is going. I'm only 75 pages in, so I'm planning to read more. I like Evangeline as a main character. I think that she's very fun. And I like where the plot is going because there's this like coronation thing happening. I don't pay attention to terminology. And she's gonna go as an ambassador for the Meridian Empire. Okay, finale as the last book of the Caraval trilogy was so much. I remember reading it and so much happened at the end that I can't remember exactly how it ended. So I think there's some references that are happening and I'm like, it's a giant hazy blur at that book. I loved it so much, but I was so on edge the whole time that it feels like a jumble in my head, and it's also been a while though since I've read it. So anyways, it's good. I'm gonna read more of it later. This book was very addicting, very fast, and now I'm on part 3, which I think is the last part because I don't have very much left to go. It's really good. I just love this world. It's so whimsical. And her relationship with Jax is like juicy and tensiony, and something just happened that I can't tell you because technically it's a spoiler, and there is just many crazy things happening and I'm enjoying every second of it. Yeah, so I might finish this tonight, or I might get very close to finishing it, but needless to say, this is looking to be a 5-star. Good morning. So I did end up finishing Once Upon a Broken Heart last night after I took that clip. I was wary because I have never finished a book in a day. I feel like I just read too slow, and so I didn't have that much hope in myself, but I did. It took me like an afternoon. I finished at like 11:30 at night, and I'm giving it 5 stars. Also, I just realized I never showed you the answer to my question that proved that this was somebody's favorite last year, so I'm gonna put it up just so you believe me. Not that like I'm lying, but I don't know. I was like, I never showed proof, so there it is. And I love this story. It took an interesting turn at the end because I was like, what is happening here? I really like Evangeline as a main character. I think she brought a fresh and new point of view to this whole world. I love Scarlett and Tella from Caraval. She was a little more cautious than them. She like really thought things through, especially at the end, because I was like, girl, I think we're overthinking at this point. I think we need to take a chill pill, but no, she just kept going, and I was like, okay. So now I know how the next one's gonna go, and it makes me sad. But anyways, we also got to see a new side of Jax because of how finale ended, and this takes place after finale ended, which I didn't know either. Which, I mean, I should have guessed, but I didn't know that her timeline was a little wonky because of the beginning. My hair is so stupid. Whatever. This world is just so pretty. And I heard Haley Pham say that, like, this wasn't as the writing wasn't as flowery as it was in the first 3 trilogy. I agree. I'm not sure if I like or dislike that because I love pretty writing, but this was really pretty too at some points. Like when she brought it out, I was like, yes, give it to me. Like Stephanie Garber has a way of describing colors and scents as memories, which I love to use in my writing now too, because I feel like it adds this like, ooh, I just love it. Like, I don't know, she describes feelings as like dreams or like late night calls, not calls because they don't have phones, but like late night coffee. I don't know how to explain it. I liked it, I read it, and now for my second read, I did the wheel thingy. Here's the thing that I didn't tell you at the beginning, was that I only own 3 of the books on the list, so 2 I have to borrow from the library. The Hawthorne Legacy is taking a lifetime to get to my library, and it's still not there because I was going to pick it up today and it's not there. But the wheel thing picked the Beartown. Anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Beartown is at the library, but I want to wait until the Hawthorne Legacy gets there because why am I going to go pick up 1 book and then go back and pick 1 book? So I'm going to wait. I'll see you when I go to pick up the 2 of them, and then I'll start Beartown because I've seen that book on my timeline a lot. My hair. A lot of my mutuals have read it and loved it, and I was like, I don't know if this is my vibe, but now I just want to read it badly because I'm like, I think it is my vibe, and if it isn't, that's okay. I just want to try it out, so I'm gonna be reading that next. This was a good choice. I had fun. Also, it's not as thick as it looks. It looks like I would look at it on the shelf and I was like, this is so thick, but it's not. It's just a little bit thicker than the Stolen Heir, and the Stolen Heir is pretty skinny. Anyways, I'm gonna go now, okay? This is my wrap-up, my review for the Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm gonna be reading the sequel, hopefully, soon. I'm gonna go now. Goodbye. So I made it back from the library, and I figured that I'd show you every book that I have on the list because I never formally showed you our options here. And obviously what I'm going to read next is Beartown, which gives off very thick book energy, but it's like, I think it's a good length. We also have The Hawthorne Legacy, sequel to the Inheritance games, Bullet Train, and Dance of Thieves. I wanted to get a good mix of genres and options, so I'm going to show you the answers to people whose favorites was Beartown, because I've seen it a lot, but also these people must have really loved it. I'm going to get started reading it now. I also started reading 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson, and since it's right here, I'm also almost in the middle of The Stolen Heir. It's going amazingly, and I don't want to finish it, but I'm going to. But anyways, it's going amazing, and I'm gonna read Beartown, and I'll update you when I get into it. Okay, so I wanted to give a quick update. I'm on chapter 11 now. I can tell this writing is gonna be so good. It honestly weirdly reminds me of Taylor Jenkins Reid in that it has a multitude of a cast, but the author is getting you attached to each one by giving you their side of the story and the world and just their opinions and stuff. I already cried once because I wasn't expecting something that happened, and it was very sad. I can tell this is more of like an emotional read, and I am liking it. I think that this is gonna be good, so I'll keep you updated. I don't know why it's taking me, it's like I'm reading this slower than I did the other one, but I just read the other one very fast. This is the tired face of a girl who's cried so many times I can't even count anymore while reading a single book. I finished Beartown, and honestly I can't even really think about it without crying. I can't explain to you exactly why. Frederick Bachman's writing is so gut-wrenching that like I'd finish a chapter and I'd have to take a moment to breathe because it was so overwhelming. Also, it's really cold out here, so I'm sorry if I'm like shivering. I was debating my thoughts while reading this book because I do not like a lot of swearing in my books that I read, so that kind of affects how I rate them because it's not a nice experience for me when there's just a lot of cursing. So knowing that, I'm giving this book 5 stars. Oh, I still have my bookmark in there. It's just, I feel like I need to read every one of Frederick Bachman's books now because the writing is just so good. It's so good, and it's so sad, and it just made me cry so many times that like I feel like I need to read all of them because what is this feeling like? What is in this? What is in this book? I don't know. I realized that this is like a trilogy because there's 2 more books after this, and I was like, maybe I won't read the next 2 because this one is just so sad that it's making me cry, and I don't know if I like this feeling, but I think that I probably will. I'm not sure when, just because reading books that give me this intense feeling, I need to like separate in between reading because goodness gracious, it was just a lot. Also, funnily enough, I thought that this was gonna be a lighthearted contemporary. I don't know what gave me that notion. I think it was just like, oh, it's like a cute little book about hockey and like a cute little small town. No, please, if you have heard of this book and like me, you don't like reading synopses, just look at the trigger warnings because there are a lot of very not great things that happen in this book, and it's just very intense. I didn't know that, and now I do, and so I'm just telling you because nobody told me, although I should have guessed. And I skimmed over the synopsis too, and I assumed that it was just a story about this little guy, Amit, I don't know how to say his name, but like him climbing the ranks of hockey. No. I've been rambling now for 3 minutes. My hands are very cold right now. I'm going to go think. I'm not gonna cry anymore, although I might cry while writing my review, but whatever. I need to decide what to read next. I'm still reading 9 Liars, and actually I finished The Stolen Heir like 2 days ago. I stayed up super late reading it. 5 stars, that one was amazing too. That one made me go crazy too. I don't know why, I've just been really emotionally invested in the books that I've been reading lately because it was the same feeling with The Stolen Heir. So, don't know what's going on with me, but these have been hitting me hard. I'm gonna do the spinner thing too because I have to pick my next read for this video. So far, they've been good choices.
I've been thinking, my emotions got me on the roller coaster, took a long drive by the ocean.
Good morning, y'all. So, truth be told, I actually haven't read in like 2 days because my current read just isn't like calling me to read it, if you know what I mean. And also, I was gonna do the spinner wheel for my third read, but because I have to return these to the library, and also because that one book that I also wanted to read in this video is at the library, I'm gonna go ahead and read the Hawthorne Legacy, pushing it up so I can return these and get the other one. But I'm really excited for this, and I'm gonna have to kind of brush up on my knowledge of the Inheritance games because I think it's been over a year that I read it, but I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to continue the series. I'll update you when I get into the middle of it. This lighting is so bad, but we're gonna just deal with it, okay? Okay, so this morning I started the Hawthorne Legacy, and around 5 o'clock I finished it. The short chapters really had me reading this fast, and also the plot was just pretty fast-paced, so I didn't find myself wanting to put it down or to stop reading it, so I just ended up finishing it. And I think after I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart in a day, it like gave me the idea that I can just do that now. So who knows what other books I'm gonna read in just a day, but I did not expect this to happen. Anyways, about the book, I'm giving it 4 stars. I actually rather enjoyed it, but nothing very crazy or spectacular happened, I feel like, in the plot. I'm also surprised because I ended up finishing 9 Liars yesterday, and Stevie throws like everything out the window to solve that murder mystery. Like, she forgets about school, she's like, I need to solve this. And then I read this book and she's like, I can't go to Costa Rica to find really important evidence because I got school. But also, like, she can't leave the house for more than 3 nights because of the whole law situation. Like, she can't get the house unless she lives there. So that's an important thing too. But I was like, okay, so I guess we're just staying home for most of it and going to school. But although there are really crazy scenes, and I have to give a clap and a half to the scene with her and Grayson in the interview. That was everything I needed in that moment. I was like, yes, because I am Team Grayson. I am, and you can't take that for, oh wait, Grayson? Yeah, you can't take that away from me. I love Jameson. I do. I think that he's an amazing guy. And I love the banter that he gives to the story, but Grayson is just what I crave in a book guy, I guess. And oh my gosh, he's just amazing. I love the protectiveness. I think that's what's getting me. Anyways, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The writing makes it super duper digestible, and I feel like there's nothing very graphic. I tried to like think it over, but no. So it is very accessible to lots of people, and I think that this series is a really good one to recommend, and I am constantly recommending the Inheritance Games because I feel like it's just a very broad book for people to enjoy. I think that anybody could like it, just like Truly Devious. Anyways, maybe I'll do a video of easy books to recommend. I don't know. Anyways, this is the 3rd book for this video, and they're all good. Like, there's nothing that I haven't enjoyed yet, but I feel like it is rare that I don't enjoy a book. So I'm gonna read Bullet Train next, just because I've been a little worried about that one. I feel like the writing might put me in a slow pace, just because I know it's not young adult, so it's gonna be written differently, and I'm worried about that, but I'm excited too. So I'm gonna read that one next, and I'm gonna save Dance of Thieves for the last book of this video, just because, I don't know, I want to read a fantasy last, because it's something that I know. It's something that I know and that I love already. I'm gonna put the comment showing that Bullet Train was Jolynn's one of her favorite books of last year, just so you know again. And I'm gonna go read it, and I'll update you in the middle of it or when I finish it, because I was gonna update you in the middle of this one, and then I just ended up finishing it. Okay, so I finished Bullet Train. I'm giving it 3.5 stars because I had a good time. I enjoyed myself, but it's definitely not like an all-time favorite, but I think that it was really well written and a really interesting story. It was a lot slower paced than I had anticipated, just because it gives off fast-paced vibes, and it's all set in this one train, and it follows 4 or 5 points of view, I can't remember exactly, and they're all like killers, and they're all really unique. I was gonna say weird, but they're really unique, and they all have very distinct characteristics. So that did lead to a fun story, but I just felt like it was kind of slow. But once we got to the halfway point, it picked up a lot, and I didn't want to put it down because I was like, I want to see how this ends and where everything gets to. I wasn't super attached to every character. My favorite point of view was Ladybug and the fruits, because their conversations were probably the funniest, and I found myself chuckling and like I hate the word chuckling, laughing with what they were saying. And then I realized, is this satire? Because it just gave that vibe, and I'm still not completely sure. I think some of it was just in the tone. And so I was like, what is happening? And then I decided to go rewatch the trailer for the movie, because although I won't be seeing the movie, I wanted to see the trailer again. And I read the comments for the video, and there was a comment that put it perfectly. And they said that it is an utterly ridiculous story, but thoroughly entertaining. And boy oh boy, that's so true. Because I was like, there is so much happening right now, and I don't even know how to feel about any of it. I felt very detached. I think that's what I'm getting at, is that I just felt very detached from the story and like the characters, and I felt like I was just watching this scene and I was like, what in the world is happening? But it was a fun time. Like, I enjoyed myself, and I'm glad that I read it, because it adds to my collection of books, and I can look at it and like understand what goes on in this book. So yeah, 3.5 stars. It was an experience, to say the least. And next, I'm going to be reading Dance of Thieves, which is the last book for this video. It is a young adult fantasy set in the same world as, oh my gosh, The Remnant Chronicles? Is it The Remnant Chronicles, or is that completely wrong? Because it's the Kiss of Deception, that whole world, the Kiss of Deception, something, the Heart of Betrayal. I'm so sorry. I read those 3 books not years ago, but like a year or 2 ago. I really had a fun time with them, and so I was worried about reading Dance of Thieves just because I loved the other 3 so much, but it's been a while since I read them, and I've actually heard like overwhelming praise for the Dance of Thieves duology, much more than the other ones, so I'm excited for this duology. It's definitely going to be a shift in genres, but I'm excited for it. And I'm excited to have you along the way. So I'm gonna try and update you when I'm in the middle of it, because I didn't do that with this one when I could have. I just wanted to finish it very fast. So I'm gonna keep you updated more than I have. It's a couple days later, and I'm now halfway through Dance of Thieves, and I figured that I would update you before I end up finishing this, because I'm reading it a lot faster now. I really like where the story is going. I actually really like the 2 main characters, and it has the forced proximity trope. There's a little bit of like fake relationship stuff, and I feel like young adult fantasy is just so fun to read, and I don't give it enough credit for that, because it is truly just like escapism at its finest. I feel like literary fiction and contemporary fiction, that's all written for a different purpose. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Oh my gosh, there's a squirrel in the tree. Sorry for that interruption. There's literally a squirrel in the tree in my backyard. Anyways, yeah, I feel like those are all written for a specific purpose, and I get wrapped up in like the writing and stuff. But I feel like young adult fantasy, the authors know what the audience wants, and I just crave this, like, they're chained together, and so they have to like end up liking each other even though they don't want to, and just for the sake of the kingdom, like, she has to do this, like, she has to like him. I don't know, I just feel like it's so funny sometimes, and I just eat it up. I love it so much. So yeah, also I realized that I really don't remember anything about the last trilogy, because like there's so many references, and the only name that I remembered was Cadence, who was my favorite guy from the last trilogy that she didn't even end up with, but whatever. He was mentioned, and I was like, oh, I know you, but everything else I don't remember. because for some reason I'm also getting this series mixed up with An Ember in the Ashes, and it's all very foggy in my head, so I'm just taking this as is and not thinking about the past. Anyways, I'm really having fun with this, and I'll see you when I finish it. I finally finished Dance of Thieves, and I'm giving this 5 stars because I had a really good time and I really enjoyed myself. I think that this is just a classic young adult fantasy. It has a little bit of enemies to lovers, but I would rather call it forbidden romance because they just can't be together for the sake of their kingdoms and for the sake of their citizens and their people. It's just not in the cards for them, and so it's just all this angst. And they actually got together very quickly, like in the first 100 or so pages of the book. They decided they like each other and stuff because it has the forced proximity trope, which I love to read. It's just so juicy, and like they end up being chained together. And I just love the series of events that take place in this book because we also have a lot of betrayal, we have a lot of secrets and sneaking around. I love the setting. I feel like you grow to love just this little community and this piece of land that they have, and all of the trade, and like just all the people, and you feel like you're almost there because of the way that the author describes it, and I think that it was really well done. I also love the aspect of family in this book because Jace has a giant family, and I feel like they're just all very close and protective of each other, which is in comparison to Kazi, who lacks family. She lacks that united bond because of the tragedy that happened with her mother, so it's something new for her. And I loved her friends. I feel like they added like just that amount of flair to the book. I had an amazing time. I will be reading the sequel hopefully soon because I just love how this one ended, honestly. It felt a little bit insta-lovey in the beginning, but I think it's just because I thought it was going to be a slow burn, and it wasn't a slow burn. It was just a normal amount of burn because there was just angst, but they did get together rather quickly. So that is the 5th and final book that I have for this video. I did mention that other secret book that I was going to read, but I still don't have it with me, and I'm hoping to check it out soon. But I'm planning on putting my thoughts for it on my bookstagram, so if you are curious on what book it is and like what I'm even talking about, why I'm excited to read it, go follow me there and check it out because I'm hoping to read it soon. Anyways, this was a really fun video. I'm glad that I got the chance to read all of these new favorites and these books and just see what makes people love reading and love these authors and these stories. Thank you so much for watching and for coming on this journey with me. I hope that you had a fun time. I'll see you somewhere else on the internet.